because Skype quit on us, and we are having a lot of problems trying to get this done.
Yeah.
So bear with us if it's not the same, or just bear with us, period. Okay. So we're going to talk about Dexter Original Sin, and then we're going to try to do a game.
And spoiler alerts, if you haven't seen Dexter Original Sin, sorry, you should go watch it before you watch this episode.
Yeah, do not watch it. It's freaking amazing.
We'll be giving you a lot of information away.
Yeah. So Dexter Original Sin 2024. I just have to say right off the bat, the cast alone, like,
absolutely
so good. So good.
I agree. Every single one of them. Like,
oh my God. And I'm going to say this right now before I forget. I don't think Sarah Michelle Gellar ages. She's 48 years old and looks bomb.
Train.
Yeah.
Go, girl.
True. Okay, if you haven't seen New Blood yet, don't watch Dexter Original Sin until you've watched that, because you won't understand the very opening. I love how they did that, though, and kind of did like, oh, my life is flashing before my eyes and going back to the past.
Uh-huh.
I thought that was a good way to introduce it and show where we're at and where he came from. But so many little things in this show nodded to the original series and to stories and timelines that happened later on. And the first time he did it, and I noticed it, when he's got someone laying on the table, he's got them tied up and or wrapped up, and he starts poking their head, saying like, "Look what you did," blah blah blah. And I'm like, yes, that's something so little, but I'm like, yes, it makes me believe that's Dexter.
Yes.
Right.
They nailed like everything.
Yeah.
Just
like
about
Batista, that what's his name? Laugh, like his laugh.
wow, Masuka. Yeah.
Masuka, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Like
Yeah.
the way that they did, even the guy that played the young Dexter was so, like, it was on point. And it's like, if you watch like the opening credits, that little ting, and he looks at the camera, oh my gosh, it's like, whoa, okay, we got something here. We got something good.
Well, the whole opening just kind of reflecting the original opening
Right.
was fantastic. And then down to him putting on the white T-shirt, pushing his head through.
Right.
Like,
yeah, there's certain things. And I loved the actress that they picked for Deb. I thought she did really, really well. And I liked how they broke everything down, because you really wanted to know about Dexter's background and how he became to be like this. And it's just like they touch on it, of course, like a little bit in Dexter, but they really deep dive into it here, and it's amazing. Like the first 3 episodes, I think you have to pay attention to those at least, to know what's going to go on and how it's going to pan out.
And then as we get closer to the end and you get to see Brian interact with the family, and even after they're found, and how Brian acts, but even right down to like, how like Brian being the ice truck killer did the different fingernail paintings, and you get to see him doing it on his mom, and so it was always a thing he liked.
Right.
Before his mom even died, that was a thing that he liked, and it transferred over to when he became a massive serial killer.
Yeah. I just the way that the first episode is really good, because it takes you from where they picked off from New Blood a little bit, and then they just like shoot to like where he's born, and then you kind of just go from there. And then you have the amazing Christian Slater. He was the reason I wanted to watch it, because it's Christian freaking Slater. But I mean, he was so good. Like, not that I didn't expect him to be good, but I mean, it was just, he fit the role so well.
He played a younger Harry very, very well, and we got to see why he was adamant about helping Dexter, because he had already lost a son, which they didn't really touch on before, and why, what happened to their mom and with Deb, and and everything, like just seeing that younger him, and how he became with Dexter's mom in the first place, being, she was an informant and he was the police officer, how that came about, just to see all that happen. He really gives a lot of insight to Dexter's character and Brian's character, and why Harry only wanted to keep Dexter, not Brian, and all that.
Right, right.
So
Yeah, it's so hard not to give stuff away because you're just like,
yeah,
So
yeah, you just
anybody
gotta see, you know.
like we said before, if you haven't seen it, go watch it and then come back and chit chat with us about it.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah, it's crazy. The only thing that I noticed that I guess wasn't a big deal to them to mention in Original Sin, or mention it like when they went back, is Dexter's first kill
yeah,
was the nurse
the
that was trying
nurse.
to kill Harry.
Yeah,
Now, in Original Sin, he takes the nurse's earrings as a keepsake.
yeah, but you don't see that in the original one.
You don't, which I thought was interesting. I was like, oh, okay, so he wanted to keep trophies because he keeps the blood samples in the original, and you think like, oh, he'll keep just like a piece of everybody's thing, but then Harry's like, that's evidence, get rid of it. So I guess
Yeah,
like the blood, being the next best thing, I guess you could have. But I just
yeah.
thought that was kind of like, okay,
He
you
was a
still
trophy wanter, but now he realizes that he can't because Harry told him you can't keep this stuff.
right.
'Cause for one, after a while, where are you gonna hide it all? And I think that's where the
Yeah,
blood slide came into. Okay, it's small, sleek. You can hide that pretty easily. Just the little details too, like why, and how he takes donuts to all the cops, and
right.
how he met the girl down in the files department to find files on cold cases, and how he even got the name of his boat because he borrowed a boat that was called Slice of Pie, and he names his boat Slice of Life. Just
Right.
the little nods, those little things,
Yeah.
and that moment he decides this is where I'll dump my bodies. Not in Alligator Alley because you get kind of almost got caught there. Just I don't know, lots of little nods and just answers to why and how for the original series. Why
Right.
he chooses to the way he ties them up. Why he uses the whatever syringe it is to knock them out. All these little details and why he dumps them, where he dumps them, and all that. It's just really fun to see how he began doing all that, and
Oh yeah. And I like how they actually
really fun.
deep dove into the dismemberment of his mother, and how they
Yes,
sat in like, blood that was 2 inches thick from the floor, and they just sat there
yeah,
for a couple days because nobody knew they were there.
yeah,
So
and the whole fact that Dexter's still talking to his mom, and Brian's like, she's busy right now, and just her head's like laying there in front of him.
right,
That detailing of that really shows where Dexter got his love for the blood spatter and stuff from, like why it's ingrained in him.
right.
Because we hear about it in the original series, but we don't really get to really see it as much as we do in this one.
Yeah, they
Um,
really break it
and
down and
not to mention
explain.
that she's not the only one that was killed in that shipping container. They had to witness all those people being chopped up,
Right.
right?
With
One by one.
with a chainsaw, and then
Yeah.
that's how Brian kills people and
Well, he kills at
dismembers
least
them.
one with the chainsaw on that roof.
Well, that was because she separated them.
Right.
So
He
he
wanted
wanted to
to
separate
separate her.
her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But he
So
was also learning what works for him as a killer because first it was just bludgeoning this guy, and then it was this, and then so as
yeah.
and he grew on. Well, because takes place 15 years before the original series. Then by that point, he's figured out how to get rid of the blood, freeze the body, leave them for Dexter to find, and that's when we get into the OG series and that whole first season of where
Right.
the killer they're trying to find, and it happens to be Brian.
I
Um,
love the ending of Original Sin because Brian's waiting there for him, and he's like, I'm not going anywhere. You didn't catch me.
yeah,
And I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with that. If they're
yeah,
going to wait a little bit and do like a right before original Dexter, or maybe just a little bit, layered out in I don't know. So I'm
Well, I mean,
curious.
there's a 15-year gap, so going into season 2 of Original Sin, they got 15 years to play with.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
can really show us anything, and you'll always see Brian somewhere in the behind the scenes kind of thing. You know what I mean? Always
Right.
watching Dexter,
Yeah.
learning what Dexter's like. He's been watching him since then. Before he finally makes his appearance in Dexter's life again, 15 years later in the original series. So,
Yeah.
uh, and fools Deb into
Sink the sub, hide the weasel,
Yeah.
park the porpoise.
That was
a little.
The horizontal mumbo.
But all in all, I highly, highly recommend that if you're looking for something to watch and you like Dexter. And if you've never seen Dexter, I highly recommend at least watching the first season of the original Dexter. And then you
Yes.
can be pretty good of going back and watching whatever at that point.
Absolutely.
Know that you can have what you want. Be